Level 1. You are 17 years old. You own a car for the first time in your life. It's a Saturday afternoon in late August. You are sitting in the driver's seat of a faded sedan in your parents' gravel driveway. A high-mileage car with a cracked dashboard and one hubcap missing, and the whole thing smells like hot vinyl and the Pine air freshener the last owner left hanging from the mirror. You paid $2,000 for it in cash, money you earned bagging groceries all summer. Nobody helped you buy it. This is entirely yours. You turn the key and the engine catches on the second try. Nothing about the car is good. The paint is oxidized to a chalky finish. The radio gets only 2 stations. There is a soft rattle somewhere behind the glove box that no one will ever find. And none of that matters, because for the first time in your life you can leave. You drive nowhere in particular for 2 hours. Past the high school. Past the house of a girl you will not call. Out to the edge of town where the streetlights stop, just to see how far the car will take you, which is as far as you want. A song you will never afterward be able to name comes on one of the 2 stations, and 40 years from now a few bars of something like it will put you right back in this seat. You come home after dark with the windows down, and a feeling in your chest you will spend the next 40 years trying to buy back. This is the first thing nobody tells you about cars. The first thing is that the first car is never about the car. It is about the radius. Before the car, your entire life happened inside a few square miles you could reach on foot or by asking someone older for a ride. The car erases that boundary in a single afternoon. What you bought for $2,000 was not transportation. It was the sudden expansion of the map, the end of asking permission. The first version of freedom cheap enough for a teenager to afford. You will own far better cars. You will not feel this again. The car will be gone within 2 years, sold or wrecked or simply worn out. You will not remember its problems. You will remember exactly how it felt the first night you drove it nowhere. The verb at level 1 is move. The first car is pure movement, the raw ability to go, untangled from status or taste or anyone's opinion. Moving means the whole reachable world opening from a few familiar blocks into the entire map, all at once, for the price of a tired used sedan. Level 2. You are 26. You have just bought the first car you chose for what it says about you. It's a Friday evening in March. You are in the glass showroom of a German dealership, the floor so polished it doubles the cars. Signing a finance agreement for a small sedan with a badge you have wanted on your own driveway since you were a kid. The price is $45,000, most of it borrowed over 6 years. The salesman, a smooth man named Daniel, hands you the keys with both hands as if he is giving you something sacred, which, in a way you are slightly embarrassed by, he is. This is the first car you did not buy to solve a problem. Your old car ran fine. You bought this one to be seen in it. You notice it the first morning you pull into the office lot, the small adjustment in how a coworker looks at you, the way you angle into the space so the badge faces the building. You take the long way to lunch. You wash it on Sundays by hand. For about a year, the car does exactly what you bought it to do. It tells a story about you to strangers at red lights, to the people you work with, and mostly to yourself. The story is that you have arrived somewhere, that you are doing well, that the version of you who drove a $2,000 beater is finally behind you. This is the second thing nobody tells you about cars. The second thing is that at this level the car is a costume. You are not buying speed or engineering or even comfort. You are buying a signal. A wearable claim about your place in the world, and the steep depreciation that begins the moment you drive off the lot is simply the rental cost of that claim. The entry luxury car loses value faster than almost anything else you will ever own. That loss is not a flaw in the purchase. That loss is the purchase. You are renting status by the year, and the bill comes due quietly, in the gap between what you paid and what the car is worth. You do not see it that way yet. You see a clean German sedan that makes you feel like the man you are trying to become. The verb at level 2 is signal. The car stops being a tool and becomes a statement aimed outward at everyone who sees you in it. Signaling means buying the badge for the story it tells, and paying for that story in the value that quietly drains away. Level 3. You are 34. You finally own the car you taped to your bedroom wall as a boy. It's a Sunday morning, early, before the roads fill up. You are sitting in the driver's seat of a silver Porsche in your own garage, listening to the engine settle into its idle behind you. A sound you have known from videos your whole life and are only now hearing from the inside. You paid $120,000 for it. You are not entirely sure you can afford it. You bought it anyway, because some cars are not decisions. They are debts you owe to the boy you used to be. The first drive is everything. You take it out to an empty stretch of road you scouted in advance, and when you finally open it up, the whole car comes alive in a way that reorganizes your understanding of what driving can even be. You laugh out loud, alone, with no one to perform it for, and you call no one, because some pleasures are too private to narrate. For the first month, every errand is an event. You invent reasons to go places. You park far from other cars and look back at it as you walk away. Then something happens that nobody warned you about. By the 6th month, it is just the car you drive to dinner. The exhaust note you once played on repeat is now simply the sound the car makes. The miracle has become the routine. You catch yourself, at a stoplight, in the car you dreamed about for 20 years, idly reading about a different car on your phone. This is the third thing nobody tells you about cars. The third thing is that the dream car teaches you the wanting was the pleasure, not the having. The years you spent longing for it were doing quiet work you never noticed, giving you something to reach toward. The moment you own it, that reaching has nowhere to go, so it does what reaching always does. It finds a new object. The car did not fail you. The car performed perfectly. What you learned is that the mechanism of wanting refills itself the instant it is satisfied, and no machine on earth can stay a dream once it lives in your garage. You will love the car for years. You will also, quietly, always be looking at the next one. Both of these things are true at the same time. The verb at level 3 is chase. You chase a feeling the car cannot hold, because the feeling lived in the pursuit and not the prize. Chasing means pursuing a satisfaction that moves one step further away the precise moment you arrive where it used to be. Level 4. You are 41. You no longer have a car. You have cars. It's a Saturday morning in your garage, a real garage now, climate-controlled, a polished concrete floor, a lift in the 3rd bay. 3 cars sit under fitted covers, and the air smells like cold metal and tire rubber and the faint sweetness of fuel. A daily driver you barely think about. A weekend car for the good roads. And a project, half apart, that you tell your wife will be finished by spring and that both of you know will not be. Across the whole collection, you have something like $600,000 tied up in machines. Somewhere in the last few years, without a single decision you can point to, you became a car guy in the full sense. You know specialists by name. You read forums late at night. You wave at the same faces every month at a cars and coffee gathering in a bank parking lot at dawn. There is a man named Robert there, in his 60s, who has been collecting for 30 years and who tells you, without ever once lecturing, which cars are worth buying and which are merely expensive. He drives a 30-year-old coupe with stone chips and 300,000 miles on it, and it is somehow the most respected car in the entire lot. You also notice your own driving change. The cars you love most, you drive least. Mileage is value, and value must be protected. So the best car sits while the disposable one does the daily work. This is the 4th thing nobody tells you about cars. The 4th thing is that there is a line you cross from owning cars to collecting them, and it has nothing to do with money. It is a change of orientation. The owner uses the car. The collector curates it. The pleasure migrates off the road entirely and into the hunt, the acquisition, the running list of what you own and what you are watching. You begin to experience your own cars less as things you drive and more as things you have, and the having quietly becomes the point. Use becomes the enemy of the very value you are accumulating. Robert tells you, one cold morning over coffee, that the saddest cars he knows are the ones too valuable to drive. You do not fully understand him yet. You will. The verb at level 4 is collect. You stop using cars and start curating them, and the joy slides from the steering wheel into the search. Collecting means the pleasure leaving the road and taking up residence in the hunt, where it is sharper and stranger and never quite satisfied. Level 5. You are 48. You have just been allowed to buy a car. It's a Tuesday afternoon, and the call comes while you are at your desk. A man named Michael, who runs the dealership where you have spent a great deal of money over the years, tells you that you have been approved for an allocation. That the car you have wanted, a limited machine they will only ever build a few hundred of, can be yours. The car costs $3 million. The money is not the remarkable part. The remarkable part is that you were not allowed to simply buy it. You learned this slowly, over years, the way you once learned everything about cars. The rarest cars are not sold to whoever shows up with the money. They are allocated. To be offered one, you must have a history, a record of buying the cars the Marque needed to move, of showing up, of being the kind of owner who will keep the car and show it rather than flip it for profit. You bought cars you did not especially want in order to be trusted with the one you did. There is a list. You have spent years moving up it without quite admitting that was what you were doing. When Michael calls, what he is really telling you is that you have finally been deemed worthy, the way a man is put up for membership somewhere he could never simply apply. You did not climb that list with money. You climbed it with patience, and with all the cars you bought to prove that you would behave. This is the fifth thing nobody tells you about cars. The fifth thing is that at the top, money stops being the currency and access takes its place. The Marque does not need your money. It has more willing buyers than it has cars. What it is selecting for is loyalty, discretion, a collection that flatters the brand, an owner who will not embarrass it. The cars at this level are not for sale to the highest bidder. They are granted to the most worthy collector, and worthiness is built the slow way, over a decade, exactly like belonging. You spend a fortune to earn the right to spend a larger one. You hang up the phone and notice that you feel grateful, which is a strange thing to feel about being permitted to give someone $3 million. The verb at level 5 is access. Your money no longer buys the car. It buys the standing to be offered one. Access means understanding that at the summit the scarce thing was never the money. It was the invitation, and the invitation is earned and not purchased. Level 6. You are 56. You are standing on a wet lawn at dawn beside a car that is older than your father. It's a Sunday in August at a concours on the California coast, the most serious gathering of cars in the country. There is dew on the grass and a cold, clean light coming off the ocean. Your car, a pre-war machine with coachwork built by hand before your family owned anything at all, sits roped off while judges in blazers study the authenticity of every screw. You did not buy this car to drive it. You bought it because it is history, and history is the one thing in this entire world that cannot be manufactured. You have moved, in these years, past speed and past newness completely. The cars that matter now are the ones whose value lives in their past, in their originality, in a documented chain of ownership, and the races they ran before you were born. You can recite the names of the 3 men who owned this car before you, the way other families recite their grandfathers. You commissioned a restoration that took 4 years and a team of specialists who argued for weeks about the correct shade of a paint no factory has mixed in 70 years. A man named Robert, older now, walks the lawn beside you and tells you which cars here are real and which are merely beautiful. When your class is called and your car takes its award, the applause comes from a few hundred people who genuinely understand what they are looking at. No one shouts. They nod, which in this place means a great deal more. It is the quietest and most complete recognition you have ever felt. This is the 6th thing nobody tells you about cars. The 6th thing is that at this level you stop being an owner and become a custodian. The great cars outlive everyone who holds them. This one was here before you and will be here long after. And your entire role, if you are honest about it, is to keep it intact and original and running for the man who holds it next. The provenance is the asset, and you are simply one more name in a chain that stretches in both directions past your own lifetime. You do not really own the car. You hold it for a while, on behalf of history, and then you hand it on. The verb at level 6 is preserve. You preserve an object built to outlast you, accepting that you are a chapter and not the conclusion. Preserving means tending something that owns a line of men rather than the other way around, and being content to be one of them. Level 7. You are 65. You have just bought a car company. It's a Wednesday morning in a quiet room full of lawyers, and you are signing the final documents to acquire a Marque, a storied name with a badge collectors have chased for generations. Dormant for years, and now yours. The price is $200 million. You are no longer buying cars. You are buying the source of the wanting, the badge itself, the small enameled shield that every striving owner spends his life trying to be allowed to put in his garage. You did not arrive here as a collector. You arrived as the man who, somewhere around the time he first understood allocations, started paying attention to where the value actually pooled. While other collectors chase the cars, you notice that the cars depreciate and the brand does not, that the Marque collects from every owner forever, while every owner only pays and pays. When the name came up for sale, quietly, held by a family with no heir who cared, you were the one who understood exactly what it was worth. You bought it with the proceeds of a life spent watching, while nearly everyone around you spent their spending. Now the list flips. The collectors who once outranked you, who were granted cars while you waited, write to your company asking to be considered. Men who would not have returned your call a decade ago now send careful, deferential letters. You sit on the other side of the call that Michael once made to you. You are the one who decides who is worthy now. The badge that thousands chase generates value, and that value flows, every single year, to you. This is the seventh thing nobody tells you about cars. The seventh thing is that the entire ladder, every level below this one, is a consumption treadmill for everyone except the few who own the apparatus. Cars depreciate. Brands appreciate. The car is the purest form of consumption ever invented that still manages to pretend it is an asset, and almost every car ever sold has lost its owner money. The only people for whom cars are genuinely wealth are the ones who own the means by which a car becomes desirable in the first place. The mark, the auction house, the badge. The buyer's chase. The owner of the badge collects from all of them. The verb at level 7 is own. You own the mark itself, the source of the desire that every other level is paying to chase. Owning means holding the one thing in the whole enterprise that does not depreciate, the name, while everyone beneath you pays for the privilege of wanting it. The payoff. So let's pull this together. At level 1, you move. The first car is never about the car. It is about the radius. At level 2, you signal. The car becomes a costume, and depreciation is the rent on the story. At level 3, you chase. The dream car teaches you the wanting was the pleasure, not the having. At level 4, you collect. You cross the line from using cars to curating them. At level 5, you access. Money buys not the car, but the standing to be offered one. At level 6, you preserve. You become the custodian of something that outlives you. At level 7, you own. The buyers chase the badge. Whoever owns it collects from them all. Here is the thing nobody on YouTube will tell you about cars. The car is the most beloved bad financial decision in the world. For almost everyone who buys one, a car is a depreciating object dressed up as an aspiration. The entire ladder, from the first beater to the full garage, is mostly a treadmill of consumption that men run on willingly because it feels like progress. The machines get better. The bank balance does not. And then, near the very top, the logic inverts. The rarest cars do appreciate, but you cannot buy your way to them. You are granted them, slowly, the way a man is granted membership. The only people who turn cars into lasting wealth are not the buyers at all. They own the badge, the marketplace, the source. Confusing the costume for the asset is what keeps good men climbing a ladder of beautiful machines, when the real money was always in owning the thing they climbed toward. If you are watching from behind the wheel of your first decent car, feeling like you have arrived, the message is gentler than it sounds. The car was never the point. The freedom was, and the wanting was, and both are real and worth having. Just do not mistake the costume for wealth. If you are watching from inside a serious collection, the message is harder. Look at where the value actually accrues. You can spend a life chasing the badge, or you can ask who owns it. Somewhere right now, a 17-year-old is sitting in a faded used car in a gravel driveway, turning the key on the second try, listening to a tired engine catch. He thinks the car is the beginning of something whose shape he can already see. He does not yet know that the feeling in his chest tonight, the whole map opening at once, is the thing he will chase through every car he ever buys and never quite feel again. The ladder has 7 levels. The first one is the cheapest and the best, and almost no one believes that until they have climbed all 7. If this video changed how you think about cars, hit subscribe. We have more videos like this on the channel, each one breaking down a different path that wealth takes through the machines, the badges, and the things men spend their lives chasing. See you in the next one.